It's about guys focusing on the task at hand. 2025 Houston Cougars. I think rosters are going to be different every year. With the portal and all the money being thrown around and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to look to 2027. It used to be you had a guy and you knew you were going to have him for 4 or 5 years. That's what I want, but I'm realistic. I'm probably not going to. I told them in our last meeting, this is the last time we're going to have this group of guys together. And I'll be darned if I had a walk-on and left the team the next day. So we want to just focus every day on 2025 Houston Cougars. And we talk about a microwave philosophy rather than an oven. We got to get this thing cooked quickly. That's how you got to do it. We got to establish relationships quickly, and establish culture quickly. We don't have time to wait.
Really, does what Kenny Dillingham has done in Arizona State, what Sonny did with TCU a couple of years ago, does that give you, I guess,
hope?
Correct. that it's possible for
yeah, it certainly is. Heck, I was at the Peach Bowl game. My city looked like they should have won, but I think it's given us great confidence. I don't want to sit here and act like I took over a program that hadn't had success. Houston's had some great teams. We just want to do it at the Power 4 level, like Coach Yeoman did many years ago, Southwest Conference.
Coach, I was curious, having covered Texas Tech for a long time, from your years coaching in Texas, maybe being at Berlin or Sam Houston, do you have any particular coaching friends or ties to Texas Tech, maybe from the Spike Dykes years?
I knew Spike a little bit. God, I'm trying to think of his name. What was the big offensive coordinator? Who was Dick Winder. He's something else now. I learned a few new words when I went out and watched him practice one time. But
he passed away.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I think everybody learned a lot.
Yeah, but a really, really good coach. No, I don't. I haven't had a whole lot of. It's one of the few schools from Coffeyville or Berlin that I don't think I've had a guy go out and play at. I've had a bunch of guys play TCU and Baylor and Oklahoma State and Oklahoma and places like that for my 8 years of JC ball, but I don't think Texas Tech.
That's the only Coffeyville guy I remember from Tech was a guy named a running back named Larry Starr that he might have been before.
I take it back. I did coach Larry from Wichita North High School.
He was a great
Yeah. Unbelievable. He did our media guy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Larry Starr. Good kid. I forgot now. I remember I took him to there's a guy named Ted Watts.
Oh, yeah.
You know Ted? I took Larry over to Ted. No. You're thinking of Ted Watts, the artist.
I know who you're talking about.
And he had a little place near Coffeyville, and head coach had me take Larry over there, and he really took Larry under his wing as far as being an artist.
Yeah, two different Ted Watts.
Yeah.
I know who you're
He's
talking
been here a long time, and Ted Watts played at Coffeyville.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. A long time before I was here.
Really for national college football fan as well, is there a couple guys on the roster right now that people should look out for breakouts?
Oh, I think what we got. I don't know if it would be a breakout season, but we just picked up a big tight end, Tanner Cozell, who had the most contested catches in the NCAA last year, 29, something like that, and he caught out 80-something balls at Ball State. He'd be a guy that, we're expecting big things. Dean Connor, he's a guy we just added from Rice, outstanding running back. And I hate naming 2 or 3 guys because it leaves some dudes out. But Corey Platt's another guy. He was a great player for me at Tulane, and he's had bad luck the last couple of years. I think he's an outstanding linebacker. So.
What stood out about Dean so far?
Just everything. He can do everything. He can block. He can run routes. He can catch the ball. He can run it inside. He can run on the perimeter. Smart. Playing the kicking game. A lot of stuff.
Coach Fritz, 2-part question. First question is, can you talk about your Week 1 matchup against Stephen F. Austin and your history with Stephen F. Austin. And number 2, can you talk about the Texas Tech rivalry? Do you feel like Houston and Texas Tech has become a legit rivalry?
I think this is the first time that Houston has played. They played Tech a few years ago.
Yeah, you played them.
2 years ago. Wasn't that the first time they played in a long time?
No, they played. Actually, they played quite a bit in the last.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they played 4 or 5 times.
That's how much I know about it. I think we need to have a rivalry with Baylor, TCU, and Tech. I think that we should all, those 4 teams should play against each other every single year, in my opinion. What was the other question?
Yes, sir. Your Week 1 matchup against Stephen F. Austin.
Stephen F. Austin,
Talk about your history with Stephen F. Austin and your thoughts on that matchup.
When I was at Sam Houston, we did not allow purple in the building. And, I was a GA at Sam Houston. I was a coordinator at Sam Houston. I was a head coach for 4 years. So that was a big rivalry for us. So it doesn't take much to get me fired up for Stephen F. I think Coach Carthon and staff do sensational jobs. We're going to work long and hard on those guys. They're got a good program. I know that's them coming to play at our place is a huge game for them.
That's having a tight end like that do for a quarterback almost from a security, blanket kind of.
You just that's a lot of catches. And he's got great hands. He's got good speed. He's a very good route runner. He does a lot of great things that he does.
Do you feel like our offensive line is a position group that needs to travel the most from last year to this year?
We got to get. We had. We knew. I knew in spring ball, and I knew it. After we played 2 or 3 games, we had to get better in that area, and I feel like we really have gotten better in that area.
How close are you to kind of picking out the 5 in the specific positions?
I think there's going to be about 8 guys who are going to play a lot early, some rotation. I don't mind rotating the offensive line. Some guys will not do it because they feel like continuity is so important with the offensive line. Hell, it's important every place, right? But you got guys that are pretty close to each other. Let's see who's better, and the best way to determine that is having to play in real games.
What's a guy like Dalton bring to the table? I mean, 6'9", he's the biggest guy on the team.
He's a big guy and he's got good movement. I think he's got the fastest GPS time for offensive linemen. So I think he's starting a lot of games.
You know his time? You know Dalton's time?
I don't know exactly. I think it's almost 18, which is good for a guy 6'8", 6'9", 310 pounds, 15 pounds maybe. Everybody good?
Good to go.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Coach.